Hello, Squee, Rebel, Dantos, anyone else working on Skyrim? DJ Numa here. Um, I I have a speech that I did. It's my personal favorite by Winston Churchill called "A Hush Over Europe." It was presented in on the 8th of August, 1939, before World War II started, I believe. Yeah, that was September, I think. Yeah, but anyway. I hope that that will help with deciding whether my voice is right for the voice acting for Skyrim or not. Um, and other than that, I hope you enjoyed. On with the speech. Holiday time, ladies and gentlemen. Holiday time, my friends across the Atlantic. Holiday time, when the summer calls of the toilers of all countries for all too brief a spell from the offices and mills of staff routines of daily life and breadwinning, and sends them to seek, if not rest, at least change in new surroundings, to return refreshed and keep the myriads of wheels of civilized society on the move. Let me look back to let me see. How did we spend our summer holidays 25 years ago? Why, those were the very days when the German advance guards were breaking into Belgium and trampling down on its people on their marches towards Paris. Those were the days when Prussian militarism was, to quote its own phrase, hacking its way through the small, weak neighboring country, whose neutrality and independence they had sworn to not merely respect, but to defend. But perhaps we are wrong. Perhaps our memory deceives us. Dr. Goebbels and his propaganda machine have their own version of what happened 25 years ago. To hear them talk, you'd suppose that Belgium invaded Germany. That there were those peaceful Prussians gathering in their harvest when this wicked Belgium set upon by English and Jews fell upon them and would no doubt have taken Berlin if Corporal Adolf Hitler had not come to the rescue and turned the tables. Indeed, the tale goes further. After 4 years of war, by land and sea, when Germany was about to win an overwhelming victory, but the Jews got at them again. This time from the rear, armed with President Wilson's 14 points that they stabbed, we are told, in the German army's back. We induced them to ask for an armistice, and even persuaded them in an unguarded moment to sign a paper saying that it was they, and not the Belgians, who had been the ones to begin the war. Such is history as it is taught in topsy-turvydom. And now it is holiday again. Where are we now? Or as you sometimes ask in the United States, where do we go from here? There's a hush all over Europe, nay, all over the world, broken only by the dull thud of Japanese bombs falling on Chinese cities, on Chinese universities, or near our British and American ships. But then China's a long way off, so why do we worry? The Chinese are fighting for what the founders of the American Constitution in their stately language call life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness, and they seem to be fighting very well. Many good judges that they are going to win think they are going to win. Anyhow, let's wish them luck. Let's give them a wave of encouragement, as your president did last week when he gave a notice about ending the commercial treaty. After all, the suffering Chinese are fighting our battle, the battle of democracy. They are defending the soil, the good earth that has been there since the dawn of time against cruel and unprovoked aggression. Give them a cheer from across the ocean. No one knows whose turn it may be next. If this habit of military dictatorships breaking into other people's lands with bomb and shell and bullets, stealing the property and killing the proprietors spreads too widely, we may none of us be able to think of summer holidays for quite a while. But to come back to the hush I was saying was hanging over Europe. What kind of a hush is it? Alas, it's the hush of suspense. And in many lands, it's the hush of fear. Listen carefully. I think I hear something. Yes, there is definitely something. A gravel of it's quite clear. Don't you hear it? It's the tramp of armies crunching the gravel of the parade ground, splashing through the rain-soaked fields, the tramp of 2 million German soldiers and more than 1 million Italians going on maneuvers. Yes, only on maneuvers. Of course, that is only maneuvers just like last year. After all, the dictators must train their soldiers. They could scarcely do that in common prudence when the Danes, the Dutch, the Swiss, the Albanians, and of course the Jews may leap out upon them at any moment and rob them of their living space, and and make them sign another paper to say who it began it. Besides, these German and Italian armies may have another work of liberation to perform. It was only last year that they liberated Austria from the horrors of self-government, and it was only in March that they freed the Czechoslovak Republic from the misery of independent existence. It's only 2 years ago that Signor Mussolini gave the ancient kingdom of Abyssinia its Magna Carta. It is only 2 months ago that Albania got its writ of habeas corpus, and Mussolini sent his Bill of Rights for King Zong to pay. Why, even at this moment, mountaineers of the Tyrol, the German-speaking population who have dwelt in their beautiful valleys for 1,000 years, are being liberated, that is to say, uprooted from the land that they love, from the soil which Andreas Hofer died to defend. No wonder the armies are tramping on when there is so much liberation to be done. No wonder there is a hush among all the neighbors of Germany and Italy when they are wondering which one is going to be liberated next. The Nazis say that they are being encircled. They have encircled themselves with a ring of neighbors who have kept on guessing who will be struck down next. This kind of guesswork is a very tiring game. Countries, especially small countries, have long ceased to find it amusing. Can you wonder that the neighbors of Germany, both great and small, have begun to think of stopping the game by simply saying to the Nazis on the principle of the covenant of the League of Nations, "He who attacks any attacks all. He who attacks the weakest will find that he has attacked the strongest." That is how we are spending the holiday over here, in poor weather and in a lot of clouds. We hope it's better than with you. One thing has struck me as very strange, though, and that is the resurgence of one-man power over all these centuries of experience and progress. It is curious how the English-speaking peoples have always had this horror of one-man power, how they are quite ready to follow a leader for a time as long as he is serviceable to them. But the idea of handing themselves over, lock, stock, and barrel, body and soul, to one man and worship him as if he were an idol, that has always been odious to the whole theme and nature of our civilization. The architects of the American Constitution were as careful as those who shaped the British Constitution to guard against the whole life and fortunes and all the laws and freedoms of the nation being placed in the hands of a tyrant. Checks and counter-checks in body politic, large devolutions of state government, instruments and processes of free debate, frequent recurrence to those principles, the right of opposition to the most powerful governments, and above all ceaseless vigilance, have been preserved and will preserve the broad characteristics of British and American institutions. But in Germany, on one mountain peak, there sits a man who in a single day, can release the world from fear which now oppresses it, or in a single day could plunge all that we have and are into a volcano of smoke and flame. If Herr Hitler does not make war, there will be no war. No one else is going to make war. Britain and France are determined to shed no blood except in self-defense or in defense of their allies. No one has ever dreamed of attacking Germany. If Germany desires to be reassured against attack by her neighbors, she only has to say the word, and we will give her our fullest guarantees in accordance with the principles of the Covenant of the League. We have said repeatedly that we ask nothing of ourselves in the way of security, that we are not willingly freely to share with the German people. Therefore, if war should come, and there can be no doubt upon whose head the blood guiltiness will fall. Thus lies the great issue of the moment, and none can tell how it will be settled. It is not, believe me, my American friends, from any ignoble shrinking from pain and death that the British and French peoples pray for peace. It is not because we have any doubts how a struggle between Nazi Germany and the civilized world would ultimately end that we pray tonight and every night for peace. But whether it be for peace or war, peace with its broadening and brightening prosperity now within our reach, or war with its measureless carnage and destruction, must we strive to frame some system of human relations in the future which will bring an end to this prolonged hideous uncertainty, which we let the working and creative focus of the world get on with their job, and which will no longer leave the whole life of mankind dependent upon the virtues, the caprice, and the wickedness of a single man.